All right, here's some examples of some cams that we could build. And let's start with this pear cam down here. And you'll notice some things are weird about this. It doesn't give us actual dimensions. It just shows us some relationships that there's some sort of diameter d, and got some, d divided by 8 divided by 2, and so on. So this is what's called parametric modeling, where we just worry about relationships, not so much um, actual dimensions yet. So let's see what we can do with this. So I'm in a part studio over here, and I've started this by calling it Automata. This project, you should put your name after it, and there's going to be just a ton of stuff in this file, so let's get going. New part studio, and I'm going to start a sketch, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make just a general sketch, not using any dimensions yet. Just kind of make it look like this. So I'm going to sketch on the front plane and get myself viewed here. And I'm going to start kind of a bigger circle like that. And then for this little bump here, go above. Don't start it on the other circle because that's going to put a constraint there that you don't want. But go ahead and undo that. Make a circle above it, but make sure it's a vertical constraint. If you're over here, that's no good, but come over here, boom, vertical constraint. And make it above and make it smaller, okay? Now let's connect those with some lines. So let's get a line here. And don't put them on there, and make sure there's no constraints. Like, don't put it there, just, a line there, no constraints. It's gonna wanna give you some constraints. Just make sure there's no constraints when you make those lines. Okay, because what I want to do is make those lines tangent to the circles. So now I can grab the tangent constraint and just grab the line and a circle that made that tangent, grab the line again and that circle, and then the same thing over here. Line and circle. Boom. So yours might look funky. Don't worry about it. And you'll notice if you were to dimension this circle right now, don't do it. But if you were, it would say, oh, what diameter do you want? So if I said, okay, it says diameter of that. I'm going to delete that because what we want are, I just want to show you the difference here. Once I start trimming, okay, I'm going to trim this little chunk, and here, and this guy, and this guy. Now watch when you do a dimension. It's not a circle anymore here. It's a piece of a circle. It's what's called an arc. And when you dimension arcs, they give radii, not diameters. That's something to keep in mind. Now, I'm not going to dimension that yet. Just delete it. What we're going to do is define a dimension called the diameter for the whole project. Watch this. Go over here to a thing called the configuration panel. Click it. And we have to finish our sketch before we're allowed to do that. So go ahead and green check. Now you get this configure part studio, and oops, that's not what you wanted. Don't click on that yet. I'm going to delete that. Click on the arrow and then go to configuration variable. And I'm going to just type a little d there for diameter. And what this is going to do is this is going to define anytime you want a diameter and you call it d, it will give it some value. In this case, I'm going to put a 2 there for my default value and click green check. You'll notice over here, it will now define anything that you call little d will be 2 inches. And this 2 could be changed later if you want. Let's get rid of the configuration panel. We got a d of 2 right now. So now if I edit this sketch, I can come over here and dimension this radius to be my diameter. Oh, there it is. Look at that. You click it and divide it by 2. Boom.